the system is failing. We're going to have more homelessness, more unemployment, and the government has to print more money. It's a command and control economy where the government tells you everything. I just don't trust our government. And they're going to have to start printing pretty quickly. And the more they print, the less value purchasing power the dollar has, or the loonie, or the yen, or the peso. People are talking about inflation. I think we're in depression right now, and we're going to be the biggest depression in world history. In the 1970s, that's when the world was changing. The biggest bust in the history of the world is coming up. It's pensions. They trusted the government. They trusted their pension would be there, and it's going to go bust. And that's us. We'd get crushed.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today, as we see Darren Soto from Congress is helping launch a federal investigation into FTX. Congress is calling out the SEC right now because they had stated in a letter back in March to give more guidance and more clarity to the crypto space. They didn't, and FTX fell on their watch. Now, what's about to happen? Investigations are being called for by the Department of Justice and Congress, and regulation is going to come from over top, superseding the SEC. And we'll finally get the clarity we need as an XRP investor to thrive. I believe it's going to be positive for regulatory compliant cryptos and the ones that have been planning to work with the system. But ones that are scammy and looking to take advantage of a lack of regulation are going to go away. Here, I have a clip from Michael S. Barr, a former Ripple advisor and vice chair to the Fed. And I think you're going to like what he has to say. They're looking to put up guardrails for the crypto industry. And I think, considering he was pro-Ripple, he's going to give some positive crypto regulation. Fair and balanced, but positive for the XRP army. Please take a listen.
I have to ask you about the turmoil in the crypto sector. What's your view on that vis-a-vis financial regulation on everything we've been seeing happening?
Well, I think, Michael, it's a pretty good example of what happens when you have firms that are trying to set themselves up to avoid a regulatory structure. We have very well-established rules for exchanges. We have well-established rules for custody. We have well-established rules with respect to anti-fraud measures. We have rules about lending out customer funds or using customer funds. If we had a regulatory system that was applying fully at full force to that sector, I think that we would have had the ability to minimize some of those risks that we saw. Now, thankfully, the risks to the core of the financial system have been pretty muted in the aggregate. There aren't today tight linkages between the financial sector and the crypto sector at a very large level. We have some small sets of interactions with the traditional banking system where there might be risks, but not at a broad scale. And so I think it's really important as we go forward in thinking about regulation of crypto-related assets and activities that we think about those risks. I also want to be clear at the same time, Michael, it's important for us not to set up a regulatory environment that stifles innovation. Innovation is really critical to the financial sector. It's critical to the American economy. It's one of the reasons we have an amazingly vibrant economic system, is because we permit, encourage, allow that kind of innovation. And so we've got to get the balance right. We have to have really good guardrails so that investors and consumers are protected, so that the safety and soundness of the financial system is protected. And then we need to let innovation flourish within those guardrails so that we don't lock in old technology.
You see, that right there was so important. Michael S. Barr and other regulators are looking to regulate this space as to not hinder innovation. I believe there will be a hammer brought down, a bit of an overreaction from politicians because that's all they're good for. But then, step by step, day by day, more cryptos will come into compliance. That is what all of you need to be made aware of. XRP is almost fully under compliance, and once it is, the floodgates will open for all the damn money. In addition, we need to understand that a black swan event and a financial crisis will be coming soon. This financial crisis has been planned for, and this will be way bigger than 2008. This financial crisis has to do with every single currency on the planet. Every currency is going to zero. Hyperinflation is about to begin. The Fed is calling for a pivot, or at least a slowing down of interest rates. And I told you all before, and I'll say it again. They could not keep up those interest rate hikes. Inflation is still here and it never stopped. It simply slowed down in how fast it increased. But there will be a moment where they have to pivot into the new financial system. That involves central bank digital currencies, an ICE 9, a freezing of the banking system. This was an interview with Clive Thompson, a retired wealth manager in Switzerland, and he's talking about CBDCs and how they'll be replaced one-to-one with people's bank accounts unless you're wealthy. He states specifically if you are wealthy, you will not get the one-to-one backing for the CBDC to fiat currency swap, and instead, your money will probably be confiscated. That's why I've been teaching for a long time to get your money out the banking system. That's why I've been telling all of you to keep your money on your offline hardware wallets, whether it's a USDC stablecoin or whether it's your crypto. If your crypto's on the exchanges, it is hackable and confiscatable. If your money's in the bank, it is confiscatable by your governments. This is the unfortunate reality we are faced with. And I can't stress this enough. Your number one goal should be to be unconfiscatable, because the brand new financial system will eradicate 99.9% of people's wealth. Don't say I didn't warn you. And all I ask for all of you to do is to be prepared. As long as you're prepared and you've hedged your bets, you'll be okay. Always remember this. And I'm gonna cap off this video for today with this quote from Clive Thompson. They used to call me a conspiracy theorist for saying everything all these finance gurus are beginning to state just now. When everything takes place, just remember the bull told you 3 years in advance. There's no excuse for you not to be ready. And the things that are about to happen next will change finance forever. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
I think it's quite likely that the CBDC will arrive, and it will also be the subject of the currency reset at the same time. At some point, the world is going to go into a crisis, or a country is going to go into a crisis. It might be the UK, it might be Italy, might even be the United States, but something is going to happen. Things are very, very taut in the financial world at the moment. When that happens, I think they will close the banks. You'll wake up on a Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning and hear the news that they've shut the banks, not going to open on Monday. And then by Monday evening or Tuesday, you'll get the announcement that we're having a new currency, the CBDC, and don't worry, it'll be one-to-one against the old currency. But there'll be some restrictions on your ability to convert your old money into the new money. So if you're poor and you have a small bank account, it'll be converted one-to-one straight away. And you'll probably even find that you get a free gift from the government to kickstart the system. Maybe £3,000 or £5,000 will be given to every citizen gratuitously to kickstart the system in the new CBDC. But if you have 100,000 or 1 million in the bank, you're going to be told, yes, it's one-to-one, but you're going to have to wait to convert it to the new currency. Now, wait means never. We all know that, but they won't tell you that. They'll say it's a temporary suspension because we're in the middle of a crisis. The people are rioting in the streets, and we need to calm the system. So here's some free money, everybody. Go and enjoy yourselves. And by the way, the rich can't convert their money for a while, but they'll be able to do so later. So if you happen to own Apple bonds, they'll be denominated in the old dollars. You won't be able to, it'll still be old dollars. You won't be able to convert those old dollars until you've got the cash. But when you get the cash, you'll need permission to do it. And you're not going to get that permission. It'll be exactly like we had in Britain back before 1975, when we had the exchange controls. You needed permission from the Bank of England. I mean, I remember when I traveled abroad the first time, I was allowed to take £50 with me abroad. Didn't go very far.